Hey guys, this is the first video from my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about why I prefer Achaea, a text game, over most graphical MMOs. Now there's 5 reasons for this. The first one, which I'm going to cover, is roleplay. MMORPG, it's in the name. Massively multiplayer online role-playing game. In my experience, a lot of graphical MMOs either don't have a roleplay community or the roleplay community is really small. One game that I know disproves this is Guild Wars 2. Another one is Lord of the Rings Online. But as far as the majority goes, they're usually more lax. Even the roleplay servers have less role players on them. Now, with a text game, especially Achaea, which is going to be the subject of a lot of discussion on this channel, is it's enforced. You have to roleplay. Some people might try to skirt around this and just act as themselves in the game, but say it's their character, and they're kind of missing the point. They they're not hurting or getting by the game system. They're just missing out. And when you go into a game like Achaea, because there are other text games that aren't roleplay ones, but for me, this one is my favorite. It really gets you into the character's mindset. It makes you believe in the ideals. It even got to the point sometimes for me, even as a novice, that I get upset. If something happens to my character I don't like, I'll get upset about it, but I'll have him deal with it in a way that makes sense. If somebody beats him in a game of checkers, I don't care. But if I'm role playing a guy who would be very upset about that, then he might yell or flip the board and walk away and be very angry. Roleplay can range from small to big. In most MMOs, if you're role playing, it's a big event. You're not just going to sit there and talk in character. You're going to role play through a dungeon like a lot of people I know in Dungeons and Dragons Online do. You might sit in the tavern and role play, but there's set events at set times. In Achaea, it can be anything. I've had an amazing experience where when I first started playing a few years back, before I took a long hiatus, I got in trouble with the leader of a city of evil known as Maldor. I'm not going to give too much information about the in-game stuff right now. I will in further videos, but I didn't understand the ranks, and when I was called by my rank, I got rather upset about it. And so I said in the game, I am not a slave. And I spit on the ambassador. I didn't know that was going to be a big deal until after I was publicly executed and then exiled. After that, I stopped playing. I just stopped. I was in 6th grade at the time. I was 13. I didn't understand what in character and out of character was just then. And I felt like I was personally attacked by that player. I learned that that wasn't it. And now I've come back to play. I'm in a different city and I really enjoy it, but I've had major events like that where I was with one of the top dogs and I did something stupid and my character was punished for it according to the other character's role play. I've had probably one of my favorite experiences so far was just a few days ago from the recording of this video. I was sitting in a tavern with a character who I answered a question for, and he brought flasks of ale and flagons. I'm sorry, he brought flagons of ale. And we sat at a table and talked about our ideals, talked about where we wanted to take ourselves and what we wanted to do, what we enjoyed doing. He talked about his latest escapades. I talked about a hunting trip, but it was all in character. Not once did we say anything that was out of character or anything about the real world. And I met a friend of his, all in character. And then he ended up leaving, but his friend, she was still there. Well, we talked for 2 hours in character, and then 4 of her friends came in, and it just escalated from there. And so the small chit chat in the game has a lot more depth than some major RP events in a graphical game. Now, the second reason is tied closely to the roleplay, but it's the freedom. Go into a graphical game, you're given a set scale of different character generators you can do, change the hair, change your eyebrows a little bit. In a text game, since all you see is the words, you can describe your character however you want, as long as it's appropriate for the game. No horned humans or dwarves with wings, really. But if you want to say that your character is 6 feet tall with a large black tattoo of a dragon on his face with long hair on half his head and the other half is shaved, and he has a giant scar going across his eye and his nose down his face, you can do that. You don't really get that kind of customization from any other game. You can get licenses in the games to be able to sell clothing or food. So instead of eating steak, you can eat a beautiful wedding cake somebody designed, or an amazing burger, or roasted rabbit if you want. Whereas in the game, it's set like WoW, you'll have a set list of food you can make, but in IKEA, you make whatever you can think of. The next reason is the community, and that is very debatable for a lot of people. It can be, there's less trolls, a lot of the people are more dedicated, or even just it's smaller so you get to know people more. Your name carries a lot more weight than in a graphical game. The name of your guild, in my opinion, which is part of the reason why I stopped playing World of Warcraft, doesn't hold as much until you're one of the top dogs. On your server, you might have good players, but they won't really notice you because of Raid Finder or Random Dungeon Finder and stuff like that. Now, there are ways to be known, but it's a lot harder versus IKEA or any text game. IKEA is one of the most popular ones with around 500 players that I've seen online at most at one point. And I knew a lot of those people. They had created their own legacies by leading a city, which I'll touch on more, or being a notorious killer, or a user of a drug in the game called Gleam, which got IKEA some publicity. I'll put a link to an article in the description so you can read it if you choose. Now, the community is better, in my opinion. There's also more breadth of things to do and more events. This video is running down on time, so I'll kind of wrap it up quickly. More events is because it takes a lot less money to code something in text and not have to model it than it does to make a new building in WoW. You can, most recently we had an event where a bunch of Divine were killed. Divine meaning the gods were killed. A whole city sank into the ocean. You can't make an event like that in a graphical game without an extreme investment in both time, money, and labor. Now, there was a lot of labor and time that went into coding that for IKEA, but they were able to do it so easily because, one, their ability, two, their drive to make the game so good, but three, it's text. The form of media is key for these games. The freedom and breadth of choice, I'll touch on all this in a later video, but you can get involved in politics. You can lead a city. You can lead a house, which is basically a guild, but they're set. You can lead a clan. You can lead an order dedicated to a god. You can forego all of those and be something people call a rogue character, where you go and do your own business and you never have to talk to anybody that you don't want to. You might want to be the best combatant. You might want to be the best PvE player or hunter, as it's known in the game. You might just want to hang out and gamble. It's all up to you. I mean, sure, if you want to join some organizations, they have requirements of you, but you choose to do that. You don't have to. Thank you for watching this video, and I will update as often as I can. I will usually be updating on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Have a great day.